Our spirit. What is it? Where does it go? Are we able to see them using our mind's eye? If so, just what can spirit teach us? Welcome to Schooled Thru Spirit. Host DeEtte Renee is a certified psychic medium and master teacher of psychic and mediumship development through LWISSD. DeEtte was born knowing spirit and now is here to help you better understand the spirit world. And now your host, DeEtte Renee.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, this is DeEtte Renee here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB. And I am here to talk to different people of all different modalities of spirituality and maybe just how spirit kind of affected their life. Now, each week I do a topic of discussion which spirit gives me, and then I go on to my guest. Now, my guest this week, guys, hold the fort. It's awesome. It's Mike Ricksecker. I love Mike. I really do. I had the opportunity of meeting Mike back in April at a Paracon. Nicest down-to-earth gentleman I think I've ever met. Good morning, Mr. Kevin. He's just an amazing guy. I'm going to read. I mean, he owns. He is the CEO, creator of Haunted Road Media, which is a publishing company. He's written a book on the Shadow People, Alaskan Triangle. Mike has just been there, done that everywhere. I want to read you a little bit of his bio that really is just, it's kind of like his bio that's just on his feed. Before we talk a little bit about Mike or go on to our morning thing and me kind of like putting this all over the place. But as you know, guys, we're going to get to know Mike as we're going. That's how we're going to do this. So Mike is the author of historic paranormal books, The Ghosts of Maryland, The Ghosts of Legends of Oklahoma, the hybrid paranormal research written book, and The Inscription of Evil Times, the first selection of his Ghostorian Case Files series. He has appeared on multiple TV shows and programs as a paranormal historian, including Animal Planets, The Haunted, and the biographic channels most My Ghost Story, Fox 5 News in Washington, D.C., Fox 27 News, Oklahoma City. And he produces his own internet shows, Ghosts and Legends and Paranormal Roads. I mean, this guy is all over the place. He's had several articles published all over, everywhere. He's a best-selling author, of Amazon. This guy is just literally all over. Books he's written, Encounters with the Paranormal, Encounters with the there's two separate ones there, 3 different ones there, and they're all different places. He's also, wrote the book called The Shadow People. And you know what? I'm being told he actually wrote the book. Like, he is the man that is all about this. So just so much that we're going to get to know about Mike today. And again, guys, you're going to get to know him as I'm getting to know him, because I'm not a big let's look at social media person to try to meet people, because you know what? You meet their social media. You don't meet them. So, I'm really just kind of sitting here asking questions as we go, going, hey, guys, let's figure who this gentleman is. I just know he's just this amazing guy. I do know in the last year, this man has been in Ireland. He has been in Egypt. He's just been all over. All over. Just incredible person. So this week, oh my God, you guys missed me. I wasn't here last week, guys. I wasn't here. I was in Tampa, and I hope you enjoyed Terry Flick and Danny Loosemore. And I believe their special guest was Craig. I didn't get to watch Mary. Good morning, Mary. Those guys, I love them. I love them, guys. You don't even know how much I love them. And they honor me every time that they show up and host my show for me. And I'm just so happy about that. But I am glad I am back, guys. I am so glad I'm back. I'm sitting here, believe it or not, I am actually going through and I'm poisoned. Missed you lots. I don't know who that is. Is that Tim? It says Facebook user, and I always assume it's Tim. It may not be Tim, but I always assume it is. But we're just sharing this in various little places here for everybody to see and to enjoy. Because honestly, I want the world to see this. The station is on break as of today, guys. Just so you know, the station is on break. And my producer was so nice to say, hey, you can come on and do this. You look so happy and in your element while in Tampa. I was, guys, I was. And that's really a kind of a lot about my discussion today. So as I'm sharing this, I'm going to start talking about that because my discussion today is on limiting yourself, guys, limiting yourself. You know, a really, really dear friend of mine, CJ Martin, and I can say that because I've had her on. She's amazing. God, she's amazing. I love her to death. Oh my God. If you ever get the opportunity to meet CJ, she is the biggest, brightest person I know. Wrap your arms around her and give her the biggest hug because trust me, she's going to hug you back just as equally. But CJ has a saying, and it's pretty awesome up until the moment you forget it because you're like, um, it's like, so what? So, yes, it's you, Tim. Is it me yet, Tim? I see you now, Tim. But basically, CJ says, and what else? And what more? She never just, she never limits herself in any way. She doesn't allow anybody to limit around her. And as soon as the words come back to my mind, because as I'm sharing, they went, bing, and I was talking about how great she was. Bing, the words went out. She'll laugh at me for that. But really, what I learned this last week, this last weekend was, I'll tell you what. The first thing is when I went, um, when I went to Tampa, guys, I was scared. I'll tell you, I was excited, but really, when it came down to it, I was scared, and I couldn't figure out why. Why was I nervous? Why was I? Hey, Kaden, um, I'm late, but still, let's go, morning, DeEtte. You are never late, Kaden. You are never ever late. But I will tell you, I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't know if I could do. I didn't know if I should be there. I wasn't going as a student anymore. I wasn't going as I wasn't going as a master teacher, although I am one. I was going as Lisa's assistant. I was going to walk into a different scope, a different place for myself. And that really was upping my game. You know what? I mean, that ups it, it really upped my game. It made me look at myself and the way I never had. I never felt worthy to do that. I never felt worthy to ever put myself in a position where I was good enough to be picked for something like that. And to me, that was a huge honor. That was a huge honor. I think I've got it. Oh my God, Shelby, if you're listening, your hair looks amazing. She just did her hair. Um, but I never felt worthy of that. I never felt worthy of that position. And I knew that position, I knew something else was going to happen over that weekend. I knew something. I didn't know what. I knew it was a transition of myself. I knew it was an upgrade of myself. I knew something was going to occur. And I did know also I had to not limit myself. I had to look at myself from a different angle. And that was really hard to do because I always, no matter how well I tried to do something, no matter how hard I pushed myself, I'm always still put myself into a certain limited scope. You know, I never say what else is next. Or, what else could there be? Good morning. Oh, Kevin, your energy is glowing today. Oh, thank you. Might be the hair color. I changed it, guys. Um, I never do that. I'm a hard worker. I mean, you give me a task and I am going to do it. I Good morning, Kim. I don't see Kim on here, but good morning. Um, so I'm a hard worker. I am very task oriented. I'm like boom, boom, boom. I got this, and I will deliver plus more than you ever asked for, probably an annoying amount because it's me. But it always still puts me in that portion of life where I am literally a person that is your flunky, for lack of better terminology. I mean, that's really the person I push to be. Oh, good morning. I don't know who that one is either, but is it Faith? I'm not sure. But good morning. Um, anyway, so I'm that person. That's who I've always been. And I will tell you what, I struggle with that. Why? Because even though I teach and even though I do all these wonderful things, I will sit there in my own element and somebody says, can you teach this or that? Or what do you teach? And I go, oh, and I don't look at the vast amount of knowledge I have. And I got a ton up there, guys. There's a lot up there. And when I went to Tampa, I was asked to teach. I volunteered. I wasn't asked. hey, do you want to teach? I'd love to. And I put myself into an uncomfort zone. That zone I tell you guys to go to all the time. I put myself in that uncomfort zone. And I knew what I was going to teach, but I went, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Oh my God, what am I going to do? And I brought my little Mac, my Mac Pro, whatever it is, laptop thingy, um, on the plane. And when we flew up, I opened it up, put the subject up, and just started typing. And I was blown away that I not only wrote one class, I wrote all three in the air on the way to Tampa. I was like, wow. When I really opened up and didn't put limits on myself, that I was just this person, and I opened up and said, I can be this person, and this is a person I want to be. Everything exploded in front of me. And I just was like, wow. And that was the beginning of me saying, I'm not limiting myself anymore, that I am worthy, that I can do this. And it made me look into the past, which, guys, we know I don't like to look there because the past is sometimes really kind of hard. But it made me look into the past of all the times and all the ways I have been, quote unquote, self-sabotaging myself with a limiting behavior, with a limiting belief. How many of you guys do that? How many of you think, God, if I would have just done this, if I would have just done this, I'd have been further along in life. But really, something stops you. Something in here stops us. And it will tell you what, I'm not a master genius on this, but I'll tell you what, I'm a master of my own sabotage. And it's always my fear. It's my limiting belief of myself and what I am capable of doing. What I'm capable of doing. And I had to stop and go, wait a second. I am capable of so much more. What else can I do? So that weekend really proved that to me. And it blew me away. It blew me away because so many amazing, wonderful, mind-blowing things happened. And so many amazing people were coming to me as if I was an expert. And I'm not an expert, guys. I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of experience, but I'm never going to say I'm an expert because you know what? I got a long way to go for that. I might get it when I die. I don't know. Yeah, exactly, Kaden. But a lot of things happened with that because a lot of people kept coming to me and asking me this and asking me that and asking this and that and looking to me for this guidance. And I was like, wow, there's something to this. What is this? There's something to this. But what really blew me away is at the very end of the initial 3-day event. We still have trance to go, but the initial 3-day event. I walked out of the room and there was some lady standing there and I went, woo, this is an awesome weekend. Cartwheels, everybody. And they did cartwheels. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? They said, because it's you. And I went, you literally just did a cartwheel because I said so? And they went, yeah, because it's you. And I was like, that blew my mind that somebody had that kind of respect for me. It blew my mind that somebody upped me beyond a student. It blew my mind that I was not seeing myself in that same arena. And I had to realize I needed to up my own game on myself. And I had to realize how much I limit myself. How many times I tell myself, I'm not worthy. I can't do this. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for that. I always talk about this book, and I've been talking about it for years, guys. I mean, anybody that's heard me talk, God, they're sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of talking about it. Why? Because literally, I talk and I talk and I talk. And you know what? I have a million reasons not to write it. A million self-sabotaging reasons not to write it. But really, I should only have one reason to write it, and that is because I shouldn't limit myself. And that maybe somebody out there really wants to read it. Who knows? Maybe it'll sit on a shelf and couch desk. Maybe it'll never get written. I don't know. Maybe at least published. Who knows? But it doesn't mean I have to limit myself and not do it. Exactly, Caden. Exactly. But I do, and it's weird because since I've gotten back and I've been back from Tampa for a week, God, oh, almost a full week. You want to read it? Oh, thank you, Tim. I know that's Tim. I don't know why. I just know the energy of Tim. I think, God, I hope it's Tim now. Um, but I've gone through a lot of transitions over this last week, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. And in my head, I'm like, you better get it done because Mercury retrograde is coming. You got like hours left before Mercury retrograde happens. Oops, it's not me. Oh, man. No. I love it when it just shows Facebook users. I think I need to click here, there, and everywhere to kind of see who's writing and who's not. Um, Maybe I'll go to the station channel. I bet you that'll give me everybody on there. It does. Maybe, maybe not. No, it doesn't. Oh my God. Who knows? Who knows? Um, Oh, thank you. It was Lori. Thank you, Lori. Um, yeah, I don't understand, but Facebook does this whole privacy thing. And it's like, oh my gosh, it gets crazy. So sometimes I'll just read the comments, guys, and you're gonna have to know who's writing it. Um, but I've done a lot over this last week. And again, I think everybody, I don't think I'm alone in this. I don't think I'm talking my own talk and my own story by myself. I honestly think that everybody is in this transition right now. And I do think it's about going into this new year. I think it's all about endings and beginnings. And I know for myself it's a little bit more powerful. And the reason for this is if we bring in Kelly, the numerologist, y'all know her, tells me I'm in a 9 year. I'm in a 9 year, which means, oh my God, this is about completion and getting rid of and transitioning out and getting rid of junk and busy, 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 busy. And that's been me all year. I mean, I'll tell you what, I've gotten rid of more stuff and friends have been stripped away and things have been stripped away. And I sit there going, but why? But why? But every time something happens, whether it's a friend, a situation, a thought process, something else opens up. And I hear you wouldn't have gone there if you held on to this. So I've done a whole lot of just opening my hands this year and letting it all just blow out. It's kind of like putting dandelions in your hands, dandelions that have just, they're not even hooked anymore. Them little white fluffy things. And opening your hands and just waiting for the breeze and watching it fly away. And even though you want to keep it in your hands and keep it close because it's so pretty here, it's more pretty, it's more magnificent when they fly into the sky. And every one of them little things, them little seeds, take a wish of what you want to be in. And that's an unlimiting wish of who you want to be. And that's really what's happened to me over this last week. And my dreams have been taken over. My daytime thoughts have been taken over of this last year and everything that has been released. And I think to myself, I got about 2 weeks left. 2 weeks left for the universe to strip whatever way it's going to. And I'm hoping it does it nicely and softly. Because January 1st, I started 1 year. Thank God for ones. But it's all about creation and beginnings and new and going into a magnificent life that's created by me in the universe, an unlimited life. And I'm finding that when I look over this last year, releasing a lot of that limited behavior and the limited thoughts is getting me ready for that unlimited lifestyle. To know that what else is possible. There you go. There's her saying, what else is possible? That's CJ saying. I knew if I just let it go, it'd come back. What else is possible? The sky, the stars, the moon. Who knows? I was shown some things this weekend And it was shown by a spirit. And I'm not gonna, and yes, it was during a reading. It was a public demonstration reading. And I'm not going to say the name of who it was or where it went to, but I was shown something this weekend and it was mind blowing. And the loved one showed me, and of course, he was using this metaphor, this explanation, painted picture in my head to explain something totally different to his loved one. But I got a huge message out of this. And what he showed me was a person sitting in, say, at my desk. And I look around and I look at the chaos all around me, the things that need to be done that I haven't done and I need to get done. And oh my God. And I can hear the family out here. And I know out here it's cold and it's bitter. And I know the neighbors might be bickering. I don't know. They may not be. And I know there's Christmas hustle and bustle and all this community stuff going on. Seems like a lot, doesn't it? But when I pull back away from where I'm sitting at my desk, like a soul leaving the body, and you look down, my immediate image of where I'm sitting right now seems crazy. But when you pull back, like you go up in an airplane and you pull back, all of a sudden you don't see the people running around, do you? You just start to see itty bitty little houses, lots of land, lots of water. And as you keep pulling back, and you know what? The little tiny things don't seem to matter as much because you can't see them. They're gone. It's poof, gone. And when you keep pulling back, that plane can start to go up really high and you can look really, really high up. You start to see continents. And if it can go into outer space and you look down, you see a planet. And if you keep going out far enough, you're going to see lots of planets. But really what you're going to see is the beauty of the universe, the beauty of space, and how it's been beautifully painted. And how that maybe you could just reach out and touch a star and move it here. Wipe the paint here and create a Milky Way. Put some sprinkles in for meteors. And all of a sudden you look back and all you know is the earth is in this position over here someplace. And really all the problems of it, because they don't matter. They really don't matter. Because what you're looking down at is this bigger picture. The bigger picture that's all around you. And all around you are these beautiful planets and this beautiful space. And this, all of a sudden now, there is no limits of where you can or cannot go. And I was blown away by that to go, wow, all this chatter in my head and all this crap that's all around us is all limiting. And we do limit ourselves. I can't do that because I can't quit my job. I can't do that because I don't have the money. I can't do that because how am I going to move? I can't do that because I don't have the time. I can't do that because I'm just not smart enough. Oh, I can't do that because I'm the wrong size. I can't. There's always a reason why you can't. So start looking for the reasons why you can. Start looking for all of those reasons. Who says I can't move? I'll tell you what, when I look back on my life, I am that person. When I was a person that said, I can't move, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I tested the theory without even realizing I tested it. And life was really sucking about 10 years ago. And I went, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do? My mom came down to visit me and she said, I'm just going to take you away for the weekend. And she took me back to her house up in Hayward, Wisconsin. And I sat there for a week as I slept on a floor in her spare room with a bunch of blankets. And it was cold because it was March. And I looked at that room and I came out and I said, Mom, can I move in with you for a little bit? And she went, huh? And she went, yeah, I guess. So we drove back. I went and rented a storage shed and I put all my crap in it. And in a week I was gone. A week. So screw it. Walked away from nursing. Walked away from the only community I really ever knew because I had only lived in one county. Walked away from a lifestyle because trust me, going to the Northwoods is a whole nother lifestyle. I walked away from everything. And I will tell you what, that's probably the journey that started to unravel my self-sabotaging, unraveled my limiting beliefs. Now, it's taken 10 years to get to where I've gotten. Trust me, it didn't happen in one weekend. This has been years of undoing. And I probably still have years to go. But it's mind-blowing at how far I've come and where we're going to. Now, how many of you this week can put your hand up to say, there's something this week you're going to do that you've always been putting off, that you've wanted to do? Maybe you want to build a dollhouse. Shh, don't tell anybody I did that this week. Big one. Great big one. Granddaughter wanted a dollhouse. You know what? And I'm a big go home type of person. So I went to Hobby Lobby. I bought the biggest one I could find because that's me. And built it with techie glue and lots of paint. And it's gorgeous. Oh my God. There you go, Tom. That's awesome. So a week ago when I got home from Tampa, I had already had the house. Didn't think I could do it. God, didn't think I could do it. My daughter, when I woke up, looked at me and said, Mom, we're going to do this. Huh? And I was blown away. Today, I just put the trim on. And I'm looking at a creation that I had a big hand in. I love that. I love that, Kaden. So now I got to find something this week. Maybe I'll start the book. Maybe I'll write another class. Maybe, who knows? Whatever spirit pops into my brain is what I'm going to do. And it's going to be magical. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. But I want you guys to do the same thing. Find something this week that doesn't limit you. Find something you didn't think you could do and do it. Okay? Well, we're going to take a quick station break in a few minutes, and I hope when we get here, Mike has shown up. It's Christmas. Beautiful, guys. This is DeEtte Renee with Schooled Thru Spirit, WLTK-DB.com. See you in a few.
Ellie Weisensel's psychic medium is a medical intuitive that specializes as a body code practitioner. As an energy healer, Ellie offers additional services that allow her modalities to be intertwined with energetic healing. Within your subconscious lies information that knows everything about you and why you deal with specific conditions. The subconscious can be considered the blueprint to your entire body. With Ellie working physically with your subconscious mind, we detect what negative emotions are trapped and where they are stored within the body that is causing you your emotional and physical pain. This work is designed to remove imbalances and correct them energetically, getting to the root cause of why you have your condition, to help balance your body so it may heal itself. Your body is infinitely wise and wants to be in balance. The body code is not only gentle for humans, but it is also a gentle process to help animals. For more information, contact Ellie Weisensel at the website below. Want to keep up with the latest at the station? How about catch up on your favorite shows on the go? Download the free WLTK-DB mobile app on the App Store and Google Play. Watch, listen, and shop right from the palm of your hand. The WLTK-DB mobile app. The truth is here and now. Get yours today.
Hey guys, I'm thinking Mike might have missed the time because he's a little late, and that's okay because it happens. Time zones get us every time. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go in with our weekly reading if you guys don't mind waiting for Mike. Um, Again, I know he's awake because he's been on Facebook. So let's look at this. What should we pull today? Let's Oh my God, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with cards. I'm struggling with cards. So what I'm going to do is we're going to just start with our weekly reading and then we're going to go from there and then see what happens. We're just going to see what happens. You know what I mean? Um, and go from there. So, you know what? Wouldn't be the first time and then I just have to bring them on another day, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay, guys. Okay. So let's do our weekly reading and we're just going to flip this show all over the place, see what happens, So today we're doing that 5-card stud. Okay. So pick your numbers 1 through 5. As you guys know, gosh, it's warm in here. I have the wood burning stove, guys, going on and my little space heater going on. My office is frigid. So, doo, 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 doo. Shuffle those cards. As you know, pick a card 1 through 5. You can pick any one of them. You can pick 2 or 3 of them. You can pick all of them. This is your reading, what you need for the week. And we're going to go from there, okay? Beautiful, beautiful. Doo, doo, doo. So, card number 1, potential gateway. Oh my God, what a perfect card for this week. What do you love? I love this. So, potential gateway tells me, guys, whoever picked number 1, you got some opportunities coming. You got some major, major opportunities coming, guys. Okay. You got some major opportunities, and I love this. But you know what? The top opportunities, you can see them coming, but there's work to be done. If you look close at this card, there's a whole universe. Remember that whole thing I was describing there? There's a whole universe in this card. And you can see all the work and the community and all that beauty, but through there is that beautiful hole going through that tree, which again is unlimited. You love it? It's unlimited. So it's basically saying what is possible here. What else can you do? What else do you want to do? Think about, if you pick card number 1, it's think about what you want to do in life. What opportunities are you looking at and go for them? Sometimes you have to create your own opportunities. Sometimes they're not just dropped in your lap. And sometimes you just got to go, okay, we're going to do this and kind of go forward with it. Okay. So that's what this one's about. Card number 2. Card number 2, be in service. You'd swear I haven't even used these cards in forever. You've seen me shuffle. Be in service. This is a nice card also because be in service doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go be a firefighter or a police officer or a nurse or anything of that nature. It doesn't mean you're going to go be in the military, but it does mean that, finding happiness sometimes is looking outside of yourself to somebody else. Okay. Finding that way. Sometimes it's just giving a smile. Sometimes it's, handing $1 to, somebody that's homeless on the side of the street. Sometimes it's giving advice. Sometimes it's just helping somebody go move or pick up their groceries. Whatever it might be, being in service is really your calling this week. And it's about helping others to help yourself. I'll tell you what, sometimes the happiest moments I get is when I help others. And I'm a go-getter to help everybody and anybody I possibly can. That's just me. But when I sit back and I go, wow, the reason I do it, sometimes it's just to make myself feel better. So if you are that person that maybe being struggle a little bit through this holiday season, go find somebody to help. Go find a way of being in service. It's going to help you feel better. It's going to help them too. Card number 3, breakthrough, the breakthrough card. Loving this card. Because you pick number 3, this means you are ready to push through, push forward, see yourself in a new whole life. You are transitioning huge, huge. And the breakthrough might be yourself, like boof, getting through. Or this could be a breakthrough of an idea, a breakthrough of an understanding, something that just goes, wow, life just got a little bit easier. Okay. But I'm going to tell you, I also feel like this is just not small. I feel like this is big. I think a lot of you out there are going to have a ton of breakthroughs this week. I know a lot of different things that are just going to transition your soul, transition your spirit. Okay. I keep looking for a message. Card number 4. Keep your dreams alive. Keep your dreams alive. Okay. I love this card. I love this card. Um, keeping your dreams alive. This card really does talk about, a lot of what I was talking about so far this morning. So if you pick number 4, this really is about you going, you know what? I want to do this. I want to do that. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It's about thinking about all those things that you've thought about, all those things you've wanted to do, and just not letting them go. Realizing that you might be 40 or 50 or 60, you might be 20, who knows? But it's never too late. It's never too late to transform, to change, to just jump tracks. As long as you're not dead, you have enough time. And that's what this card's about. So if you always wanted to be a creator, you always wanted to be a painter, and you're like, oh my God, I never learned to paint. Who cares? Go to Hobby Lobby, go to Michael's, go to Walmart, go get yourself a cheap canvas, some paints, and some cheap brushes, whatever, and just slap it on and see what happens. That's what this is about, guys. Card number 5. Culmination of vision. Culmination of vision. And I like this because if you're at number 5 and you've picked this, it is bringing it all together. You are bringing everything you've ever thought, all those ideas, all those wants, all those wishes, and you're bringing them together. And you're finally realizing what is possible. What else? What else can I do? Because you finally have realized that, oh my gosh, you can do what you've been doing. And you're looking back to say, wow, I've been doing bits and parts of it. So now I just got to bring it together. And that's what this card is talking about. So if you pick number 5, you're ready. So card number 1 was that potential gateway. Card number 2 is be of service. Number 3 is breakthrough. Number 4 is keep the dreams alive. And card number 5 is culmination of vision. Now I'm going to tell you what, if I put all these cards together, I'm going to tell you this is your week to make you happen. This is your week to make you happen. Okay? This is your week to, you know what, to take anything you want to do and blow it up. Blow it up. Okay? Let me see. Let's do a wordy one for a card that brings it all together, guys. Let's do a wordy one for that. Mike's coming in. He just had the time wrong on the calendar, which I kind of figured. You know what? Time zones suck. So I told him no worries. So let's bring this through as a card to kind of bring it all together. And then we'll talk to Mike. How's that sound? So it's Journey of Wholeness. Beautiful card here. Love from a sense of wholeness. We may have concepts of others that are not really who they are due to subconscious projections or ideals. We could have the idea that we will feel better about ourselves when we achieve a goal or status. This takes us out of the present and puts conditions on love. Hold the vision that you and others are already perfect. Thus, we can heal through the transformative power of acceptance. Acknowledge the full spectrum and bring any fractured parts back to the present moment. Here, we are whole and empowered to step into the brightest version of ourselves. Can't make this up. I can't make this up. Does that card not go perfectly with everything we've been talking about today? With all of it? It's crazy, isn't it? It's just crazy. This card is saying to work on you guys. And that's what this week's about. It's working. I mean, every week's about working on you. Let's face it. As long as we're alive and 6 feet above ground, we got this. You know, but this week is really just talking about that. It's really talking about that and seeing how much further you can go and what more you can do. Caden says, I think this weekend. Oh, yep, I read that one. Caden is also getting my spirit shed done this week. Oh my God, I love that. You're going to have to post pictures of that, Caden. And validation. You must have loved the card you got. And Tim, oops, breakthrough. I'm telling you, Tim, you've had lots and lots of breakthroughs, Tim, which has been crazy. So while we're still, Mike is coming, I know that. So we're going to talk about some of the shows, and I'm only going to talk about them until I see Mike's face, and then we're just going to introduce Mike, okay? Like I said, guys, it gets really crazy how the time zones kind of mess things up. And my show goes for 2 hours, but I bring my guests in at the half-hour mark. So I have room for tons of possible things not happening the way they're supposed to be. So when spirit makes it work, they make it work perfectly. Now, guys, this week we do have Monday Morning Monsters after me today. And after that, we're done for the week. We're giving the station a holiday break, saying Merry Christmas. We come back on. Oh my God, my hair. What did I do? Let's do this. Y'all are going to say I look fine, but I messed it all up. And now I look like a whirlwind. That's okay. Farrah Fawcett days are coming back, right? So starting next week, we are coming back here. And I hope I got the most updated. If not, we will add some to it. So next Monday morning, we are starting Schooled Thru Spirit with myself at 9 a.m. Monday Morning Monsters with Barnaby Jones is at noon. Be the Change with Christina Bloom will be on at 8 p.m. And then she follows herself back up with the Paranormal Room with Christina Bloom and Logan Jacobson at 9. Tuesdays, Exploring the Paranormal with Heather Lee is at 9 a.m. And guys, I'm coming back next week with Unfiltered with DeEtte Renee at 6 p.m. Sorry, guys, I was flipping exhausted. I couldn't do it. Could not do it this last 2 weeks, guys, and I'm so sorry. I am so blatantly sorry, but we are coming back next week. Moment to Moment is after that with Linda Hope at 7 p.m. And Pete Orbea has Paranormal Pete at 10. Wednesdays, we start out with self-care with what's paranormal got to do with it, and that's with Deidre Sanford at 10 a.m., followed by the Psychic Hour with Kelly Brickle at 3 p.m., See and Beyond with Kelly Eckhart and Cheryl Murphy at 6 p.m., and I was on their show last week, and it was flipping awesome. I'm telling you, best interview ever. I loved it. Over the Target with Missy Hart and Nicole Ford is on at 8 p.m. Thursday is Chat with Charlie with Stephanie Lynn at 9. The Tyson's Gift podcast with Brandon Wainwright is at 6 p.m. Realm of Darkness with Rennie Rodriguez and Ashley Moreno is at 7. The Afterlife Chronicles with Nicole Strickland is at 8 p.m. And then I think we have to, but I think we're waiting until the new year for her, guys. Sorry. And maybe one more week after for that, because she's on a little bit of break. I'll let you know when she's coming back, but I'm going to keep her in the lineup. Voice of Oneness with Amara Bade at 10 p.m. Fridays is a Psychic Hour reading show at 3 p.m. New Bridge Radio and with Kevin Mackey's at 7. Twisted Ascension with Kaden and Alyssa Mask at 8 p.m. And Haunted Voices with Todd Nicole and Nicole Strickland. Todd Basin and Nicole Strickland's at 10 p.m. And guys, we're going to grow again. We're going to grow good. Why? Because we have Mike Hatcher coming in. Mike Hatcher, he is Paraflix. He is a promoter. He does so much stuff, so many incredible things. Mike Hatcher is coming into the station to help the back scenes, doing bunches of stuff, being incredible. It's going to be awesome. And I'll tell you what, we're not just watch for a lot of insane growth. And if you want to meet Mike Hatcher, because if you don't know who he is, that's okay. Mike is going to be on my show. So you'll be able to see the face with the name in a few weeks. My God, I haven't even switched. I got virtually nothing on my books this week. What is up with that? I must be on a break this week or something. Hey guys, that means if you want readings, this is the week to call up and say, oh my God, you got time this week? Because I got time. So next Monday, the Mike Hatcher dude I was talking about, you get to meet him. He's on next Monday morning with me. Another man has joined our team, Mike Hatcher. You're going to see the face that goes with the name, with the gentleman that's going to help build the station to bigger and brighter than we thought imaginable, and taking it to new dimensions, which is awesome, which is incredible. So again, Mike Hatcher's on next week. And if you want to be not like me and Google him, feel free. I'm not a Googler, guys. I'm just not. I'm not that person that Googles. So that is a big thing. I need to write in. I do have a couple appointments here, guys, and I'm writing in really quick. But yeah, if you want those readings, guys, this is the week to do it. Because I have availability, just because I think I put myself on a shutdown for some reason. And I am saying now I'm open to the universe to open up and let's get this done. Let's get this done. So those are some major things going on. Now going into the new year, I want to tell you, I feel like I'm everywhere and anywhere, guys. I feel like I'm anywhere. I got the wrong book. I got the old book out here. So I'm going to let you guys know about that a little bit because I think Mike will probably be in about 10 minutes. So we'll probably do another station break before Mike comes in, and we'll call that good for the day for station breaks. But I just want to tell you where I'm going to be over the next few weeks anyway. You don't want to hear about the dentist, but I have not posted this live and screaming about it yet. But my first major event into the new year is going to be January 5th. It is going to be an online event, and y'all know Rob Thompson. You know how much I love this guy. He's the bee's knees of everything. We are doing an online gallery event, all mediumship, talking to your loved ones. Tickets for that will be $30. I will be putting that together and putting it out there today. If you go to my site, Rob's site, the Ghost Finder site, the WLTK site, any site you see it, you're going to be able to purchase those tickets. Now, it is going to be a limited number of seating because, Zoom only lets me put so many people in there. But it's going to be Rob and myself. And it's our first event together in over a year. Oh, my God, but the man is incredible to work with. I'll tell you, incredible to work with. After that, we have my birthday. Yeah, guys, my birthday's in January. I'm getting old. I'm going to be 52. Oh my God, guys, I'm going to be 52. On the 22nd, I'm going to be in New York, guys, Lilydale Church in New York. Why? Because my church asked me to come and speak. So I'm going to come and do that. And then I'm going to look because I know I got an event a week. Now, the week after that, you can also find me. And this is just kind of filling up January. The week after that, I am in Eau Claire, Wisconsin at the Best Western on January 29th, which is going to be an amazing day because it really is my first physical event back for the new year where you can just kind of come in, say hi, and get that reading in person. It's a wellness event, not a Paracon, guys, but again, it's going to be the first of many to come for the year. With that being said, we're going to take a really quick station break, and when I come back, we're going to have Mike. This is DeEtte Renee with Schooled Thru Spirit on WLTK-DB.com. See you in a few.
If you're a fan of the paranormal world, then you'll love WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Talk shows bringing you the latest on everything paranormal, cryptozoological, metaphysical, true crime, psychic readings, and more. The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.
Good Monday morning again, everybody. Welcome back here after that quick break. This is DeEtte Renee here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB.com. I'd like to welcome in Mr. Mike Ricksecker. Hi, Mike.
Hi, DeEtte. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. How about yourself?
Oh, doing pretty well. Sorry for the late entry. I truly apologize for that.
Oh, please don't. Please. I always tell people between time zones, when my guest is on versus when my show is, it gets confusing. It gets confusing.
A little bit. And it's a crazy time of year. So there's that too.
There's so much going on. So trust me, I was just like, hey guys, I'm flexible. We just did the end of the show a little bit earlier and we flipped it around. Not a big deal.
All right, great.
So beautiful. So Mike, I told people a little bit about you. I know I talked to my station manager and he's like, this man wrote the book on shadow people. This man wrote the book on shadow people, and just he pretty much bows down to the discovery of shadow people. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I did write a book on shadow people. This is true.
You're like, yeah, I don't know if it's all of that, but you're a person that's really looked up to in the paranormal community. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about that? I mean, how you got to that place?
Yeah, I mean, It's kind of been a lifelong journey, the writing part of it has been a part of me since I was 7 years old. I've always loved writing. Um, but when it comes to the paranormal, I was an experiencer as a child. And my first significant experience, was about at the age of 8 years old, and it was with a shadow person. I woke up in the middle of the night, and in the corner of my bedroom, there was standing a tall, dark figure. And, I had no idea about shadow people at that time. I thought there was an intruder in the house and, somebody had broken in maybe to rob the place, or worse yet, maybe they'd broken in to kill me because, you think that at about 8 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Fortunately, I'm still alive to tell the tale, which is great. But but it did get physical with me. It approached my bed, grabbed me by the wrists, crossed my arms across my body, and then ran off down the hall, and of all places, into a closet. And
Wow.
by that point, I found my voice, found my legs, ran off to my parents' bedroom, and they're trying to console me and trying to tell me that I just had a bad dream. But I've been awake for this whole experience, and it was definitely terrifying at that age because I'm trying to scream, nothing's coming out of my mouth because I'm too terrified. And I was staring at this blank black face, and there was nothing there. Um, but I've had several other shadow encounters over the years. That was the only one in that particular house. I
Right.
would never call that a haunted house or anything like that. When we moved from that house in Massachusetts to a different house in Ohio, we had a lot more going on there. Where for the first 3, 4 months, I was routinely seeing a shadow, but it was a very, very different kind. Where the first one was very, very solid, this
Right.
new one was very translucent and did not get physical with me at all. Would
Mm.
just kind of stand in the doorway of rooms and watch and stare. And my mother had seen this thing too, so
Oh,
um,
okay.
so that which was great to get affirmation from her.
Yeah, it's not just an imagination of a child at that point.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I love that. It just sounds like it was one heck of a journey with that, you know? Now I
Uh,
have a question.
yeah,
Do you ever see shadow people in dreams, or are they just in the waking? And it's only because of my own experience in my head right now.
interesting. Yeah, not in dreams.
Okay.
All of mine have been in waking moments, and a lot of people attribute, especially the medical community, try to attribute the whole phenomena with coming out of a dream and you're hallucinating and things like that, which I have I have some theories about all of that. But yeah, all of my experiences have been in a waking moment, sometimes like on a paranormal investigation, something like that. Uh, so it had nothing to do with the dream state. But other people, have reported and I've talked a lot about premonitions, dream visitations, things like this, because I've had visitations from my grandparents in my dreams, and I've talked with a number of other people who have had visitations from loved ones within their dreams. So, would getting a visit from a shadow in a dream be some sort of similar phenomenon? Perhaps.
Right. I was just kind of wondering because I had that, I was that kid that had that reoccurring dream, but it was always a
Mhm.
shadow figure in my dream. So I'm like, is it
Okay.
possible? Is it possible? Or is it just a kid's nightmare, that just seems to be chasing me down a hall? So for everybody that's listening, what exactly is a shadow figure?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So, how much time do we have?
We got all the time you need.
Right. Well, that's why I wrote a whole book because they are a lot of different things. I'll get that question. Okay, what is a shadow person? And they could be just a human spirit that can't fully manifest as an apparition.
Right.
You have some that are ETs. You have some that are light beings or astral projections. What I think a true uh, uh, shadow person is an interdimensional being that's crossed over here from some other plane of existence. You have others that are time slips. So, yeah, there are a variety of different things, and it's really situational.
Oh, wow, that's incredible because I don't think people think about all of those things. I know I don't because I've had the experience of shadow people at investigations. I've also seen them when I've remote viewed for people, and looked in and went, "Oh, it's just a shadow person." To me, it was like no big deal. Don't worry, it just stays in the basement. You're good. And I never thought of the aspect of it, how many different things it could be if I would have actually looked into it to say, "Hey, what are you?" If you're able to communicate.
Right, and that's what I tell people is if you have an opportunity to try to communicate with this particular being or entity to find out more about it, then do so. Because just, the question of, I saw a shadow dart down my hallway,
Mhm.
what was it? It's really not enough information to go on. It could be all a bevy of different things. So
Right.
yeah, the more information that you can get on what these things are through multiple experiences, the better.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So how did excuse me, so how did, seeing these things as a child develop into a lifelong career? I mean,
Yeah.
have that. No, they
I,
normally go, when I played with fairies, I didn't believe in them when I grew up, you know?
Yeah, I took that survey in high school about, what you want to be when you grow up, and you put in the different bubbles for, under science or history, and it just came out, paranormal investigator. No, I'm kidding.
I could probably believe that because I think mine was like, "This one's just gonna grow up to be crazy."
Right. I mean, honestly, I think like with a lot of other people, and well, I guess maybe a lot of other people my age, I should say, because we didn't have the television shows back then where people could watch them like, hey, I'm interested in that. I want to do that.
Right.
Um, I kind of fell into it. My first little paranormal investigation, had no idea that's what I was doing. I was about 15 years old. And my friend David and I were at our friend Lori's house, and we're just, sitting in her living room, shooting the breeze, talking about teen drama and things like that. She lived in an older house in the downtown area of Worcester, Ohio, where we lived. And all of a sudden she says, I think my house is haunted. David and I are like, oh, cool. Okay. Tell us some stories,
Right.
Um, and she does. She starts telling us about different things that happen around the house. And there was this old family cemetery out in the backyard and things like that, which made it creepy. But her issue was that in her bedroom, she couldn't keep anything tacked up on this one wall. I'm talking like posters and things like that, we're
Right.
kids. So David and I are like, okay, let's go check it out. Her thing was whenever she would tack something up there, a day, a week, monthly, whatever it was, it would always fall down. So
Right.
we're going to go up and we're going to check out this wall. We're going to investigate. So we go up there, we're taking a look. Okay, it's a wall.
It's a
It's a wall. And she's telling us some more stories. And I didn't know this about David at the time, but he was extremely, extremely sensitive. And he put his hand flat to the wall like that. And he just turned this bright, bright red and started sweating profusely. And I'm looking at David like, oh my gosh, what in the world's going on with my friend? I've never seen this before. And so
Right.
he starts going wall to wall in the house to check out, any other quote unquote hot spots.
Right.
And that was the moment that I knew, just looking at the wall, looking at David, just getting a grasp on the whole situation and just realizing I am totally fascinated by this. Sure, I'd had experiences when I was young, but the
Right.
fact that I'm in a haunted house and we're, checking it out, investigating, even though we had no idea, that is really what we were doing.
Right.
I knew it was something that I was going to somehow be connected with for the rest of my life.
Right. That is so cool. Now, really kind of a loaded question here. Is it safe to say you weren't like the football star?
I
That was my first
Not
thought.
football. No, I played baseball. I was a baseball
There you
player. No, I did play sports, baseball and bowling. I did play some backyard football with my buddies, so I actually was an athlete. But,
well,
I also had a scholastic side and then this other weird side as
almost
well. So
100%. I just also in my mind, I went, was he the geek? Was he doing science? Was I
I've
know.
always done a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
really. I've always kind of been a jack of all trades. Yeah.
I love that, I love, because I always look back at, high school people, it's like what they turn into. Well, here's Mike, he's now doing this. Who would have thought that?
Right.
I love that. So I love, when you started when you really, it sounds like, and I always tell people coming out of the closet, which I've really grown to hate that term coming out of the closet, because I think it's
Mhm.
just about being yourself. You know what I mean?
All right.
Like,
Yeah.
let's do the closet out. Let's do it first. But it sounds like it was really easy for you just to kind of walk into this life, like this is who I am, and here we go, you know?
Yeah. I never really shied away from it. I always had a spiritual connection anyway. I grew up, I had a religious background, and so I was always interested in that aspect anyway.
Mhm.
And then to find out along the way that aside from religion, there's a whole other deeper aspect to spirituality and the afterlife and all that as well. That really fascinated me. And so there was, as a young man coming out of high school, I went directly into the Air Force. And so there were some lean years there where, my writing kind of was on the back burner. Looking into, paranormal aspects was kind of on the back burner, although I kept a few toes in it.
Right.
I would kind of poke around and look around. Like the movie The Sixth Sense fascinated me. That was kind of like really an introduction to me with EVP, when he's playing back the tape from his sessions, like, oh, you
Yeah.
can capture spirit voices. Let me see if I can do that.
Right.
That sort of thing. In 93, you had the TV special with Mysteries of the Sphinx with Robert Schock, John Anthony West, Charlton Heston. That absolutely fascinated me. So it's like, okay, let me see what I can, find out down this path. So those years there, from like the early 90s into like the mid 2000s, that was kind of like a big research type of time for me while,
Okay.
raising kids and a family.
Right. Well, you got to do that too. You have to be
Yeah.
responsible. It's that you can't just go ghost hunting if you want to,
Yeah.
You have to get to a certain age where I can do this. I love that aspect. You posted, and I love this, and I think this goes back to your early career, and I think you actually talked about this being kind of like it's the picture of you on the steps, and you were talking about that was that first. Do you know which picture I'm talking about? You just recently posted, like that was your first kind of like headshot picture. The kind of
Okay.
does that
Yeah.
make sense? And I was actually on that picture. I literally looked at it and I went, gosh, to be able to look at yourself kind of like the beginning of your career, that beginning,
Mhm.
that had to have been huge for you to kind of look back at that. You know?
Uh, it kind of is. I was 29 years old.
Okay.
I just signed my first book deal, which was actually for a mystery novel.
Oh,
And yeah, my first book was actually a mystery novel. And so, yeah, looking back there, because I was finally starting to realize my dream, because
right,
that's what I had always wanted ever since I was a little kid. And mystery was always an interest of mine as well. I grew up on the Encyclopedia Brown books, and when I was 7 years old, I was trying to mimic those. And
right.
I wrote some little ghost stories as well. If you can imagine this, at 7 years old, I wrote historic fiction.
Oh,
So,
wow.
which amounted to little stick figures and cannons and talking about the Revolutionary War. It was like a conversation between George Washington and his lieutenant.
I
So
lo- wish you could get your hands on them. I bet you those would be good
I
publishing.
have them. My
You
mother
should.
hung on to those, and I have them. Yeah.
I mean, think about kids' books. That'd be
Mhm.
incredible. You
Yeah.
know, I love that. And I just love the fact that you were able to, because, today I was talking a lot about going back and looking at some of your beginnings and where you've stopped limiting
Mhm.
yourself. You know, as you kind of you know, writing a book on mystery, which is almost mainstream and acceptable,
Mhm.
to writing books that maybe aren't so mainstream, so
Right.
acceptable. How do you come over that bridge? You know?
You know, um,
The time when you did it. I mean, I'm not putting you at old in any way, shape, or form, but you did this during a time where, Unexplained with William Shatner was just not on yet.
no, it wasn't. You had Ghost Hunters. I think
Mhm.
Ghost Adventures was just starting off. And the one that interested me before either one of those was Scariest Places on Earth, which people don't really remember that show, but that was um, it was on the Family Channel, whichever network had it at the time, whether it was ABC or Fox or whichever one it
Right.
was. But yeah, that one was really interesting because it was a mix of the almost like your standard ghost hunting show that we think of today, like Ghost Hunters or something like that, where they would go to a location, they'd get the information, and they kind of poke around a little bit. But then they would also have these challenges where they would, you know, uh, get a bunch of cameras on a family and throw them in a haunted castle. So it was an interesting mix,
Right.
and yeah,
I think
so
I remember the show.
right.
Yeah.
So that had always interested me, and I think part of it is just, remaining true to yourself. It was an interest of mine. And the actual opportunity to start writing in that genre, um, I think it was the universe kind of came along and said, "That's great, Mike. You have your first published book. We need to guide you and steer you in a little bit of a different direction." Because at that time, when I had the first book out, Deadly Errors is the name of the book, by the way, private eye novel.
I love it.
I was marketing this, social media on, we're gonna date it here a little bit, back on MySpace.
I was going to say it's MySpace.
Yep. Yeah. You had, okay, had a website, put that up, you were, it would be like submitting links to the website in different search engines, which they don't even do that anymore because
Right.
Google just spiders everything. And yeah, whatever you could do on MySpace. And so my my editor for my Ghost of Maryland book, Ghosts and Legends of Oklahoma, and then Campfire Tales Midwest, she basically found me on MySpace and sent me a little note and said, "Hey, I know that you're a fiction writer, but I see that you also have an interest in the paranormal.
Right.
Would you be interested?" And I also see you live in Maryland because that's where I was at the time. I also see that. Okay, well, I just kind of jumbled that whole thing up. I know that you're a fiction writer. I see that you live in Maryland. I see that you have an interest in the paranormal. Would you be interested in writing a nonfiction book about ghosts in Maryland? Because we were expanding our line of paranormal books.
Right.
And so it was almost kind of a no-brainer. I did say, okay, let me think about that for a minute. Give me a day. And that night, I had this really strange dream that I was, walking up and approaching this old historic house, and I walked in, and I'm looking around. It's beautiful. I sat down in this chair in the entrance hall, and I'm trying to get up, can't get out of the chair for some reason. Like something's pinned me down to the chair. I can't figure it out.
Right.
And so I was finally able to get out of the chair, and somewhere in my mind, I'm like, well, it was one of the ghosts or spirits of this, fantastic, cool, haunted house.
Right.
And then I kind of exited the building. I woke up the next day, and it was like, well, I just had a dream about a haunted house. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and sign this contract to write a book on Ghosts of Maryland. And what's crazy about it, but also a wonderful thing that let me know that, yes, this was truly what I was supposed to be doing. When I started my research for the book Ghosts of Maryland, one of the things that I was doing was during my lunchtime was anything that was near to where I worked at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I would, go to these different historic locations and, talk to the docents there. What are the, what are the ghost stories and things like that, and get some photos. But the very first place that I went to was Montpelier Mansion in Laurel. Okay. And when I walked in, they said, well, you can just do a little self-guided tour. Here's a brochure. You can walk around, feel free at your leisure. Okay, great. Right. So kind of walk into the dining room area. That looks wonderful. And I'm kind of, cruising through the house a little bit. And once I got to the entrance hall, I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the entrance hall from my dream of that historic building. And sure enough, there are chairs lined up and down this entrance hall. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit down though. I might not get out. So,
wow. That's
so I think it was the universe telling me this is the direction you need to go.
I love that. I love that. So, you've written other books also, but how do you get from being a writer to creating your own publishing?
Well, that came about. It is. But I had a lot of people over the years, because by that point, I had a handful of published books. And, people over the years have been coming up to me and asking, okay, how do I get published? What are the steps that I need to take? And so I would give them advice and essentially kind of throw them to the wolves. And, just like, here's some advice, hope it works out for you. But there are a lot of wonderful tools out there now available to everybody. And, I have a have a background in computers. So it didn't take a lot for me to figure out, okay, how can I use those tools that are at my disposal through like Amazon, Ingram, and all that.
Right.
And also with what I know with Photoshop and Microsoft Word and things that I was doing actually to write my own books, I could piece all of this together and create my own publishing company so that instead of throwing all these people to the wolves, I can take them through the process myself.
That's a good idea. I mean, that's really a great idea. I mean, because I know that's one of the questions I always ask somebody else, because I've been thinking about that book for, I don't, a decade.
Yeah.
I'm a person that doesn't know how to shut up. And when I write like, a book itself, but I'm afraid to write a book. Does that make sense?
Yeah, gotcha.
You're like, yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. But I know that's one of the questions I hear a lot. Everybody goes, how do you do this? Where do I go? And you
Right.
have the answers for that, which I love. I love that. Now I want to switch gears a little bit to the Alaskan Triangle. So
Okay.
here you are. You're like, yeah, no big deal. To me, it's like you go from shadow people and paranormal. Now we're into the Alaskan, Triangle. You are a very multi-dimensional type person. You know what I mean?
Well, it's all connected. Yeah, it really is. It's all connected, which is why I have my learning platform, the Connected Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a very extensive YouTube channel. There's over 700 videos out there. Actually, it might be under 700 now because I turned a lot of them off. But
Right.
but yeah, they were the producers of the Alaska Triangle, UK company, Wild Dreams Entertainment. They contacted me because they had come across one of my videos on YouTube about paranormal activity at locations that have portals.
Right.
And this is a topic that they wanted to talk about during the Alaska Triangle television show. So they contacted me. We got to chatting. They want to know, more about, Earth energy grid, ley lines, that sort of stuff. And so we're chatting about that and about the different activity that happens at these locations that, that have these things. And so then they asked me, well, what do you know about this type of activity in Alaska? And it's like, well, you got to be referencing the Alaska Triangle. I spent 3 years there when I was in the Air Force from 1992 to 1995. So
wow.
boom, it was, a perfect connection. So, they flew me up there. We filmed the television show, and, it was just a perfect setup for, because I'm having to research a bunch more information, get more details about some stories I'd heard back in the day. So now I'm becoming more learned on these different topics for the television show. So it just made a lot of sense to take everything that I was researching and learning about and put it into a book and include some of my experiences that I had while I was up there.
I love that. Now, and I'm going to go a little bit further with this because you are the paranormal investigator and then you find this. Do you find more activity in some of those ley lines in some of those places?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot more activity going on. Things tend to come through some of these energy hotspots like that. Really what's going on is, you have the Earth's magnetism, because we have a molten iron core that as it spins around creates the magnetism and of course gives us our magnetic shield from the solar wind. But
Right.
as it passes through the Earth's mantle and crust, it interacts with different metals and minerals, water, things like this, and depending on what it passes through and how much of it there is, it's going to create a lot of this different type of phenomenon. So that's where you have planes, people, ships go missing. You have a lot more UFO activity. You have a lot more paranormal activity. So yeah, absolutely.
I think that's great because I know I'm a firm believer that, and I teach it that especially if you have a house that's haunted, you have live people living there, or live people. Oh my God. But you have people living there, you'll tend to find a lot more activity in the kitchen or, in the bedroom where you have a lot of electricity going on. It seems that, paranormal, spirits like to use that, to kind of up their game a little bit. So it makes sense to me,
absolutely.
So,
and especially in a place like Alaska, not only do you have, the electromagnetism there, which the United States government has measured there. There's a survey that was put together in the 1960s by the U.S. Department of the Interior that actually measured these different magnetic anomalies. But it's also a highly volatile area where you have a lot of earthquakes up there. You have a lot of volcanic activity because of its where it's located on the globe. It's the magnetic shield is actually thinner there, so you have a lot more of the interaction from the solar flares up there, which is where we get the auroras and things like that. So, so Alaska has become one of these places that's a real hot spot because it's like a cocktail of different energies.
Right. So now, is it safe to say this book is kind of like getting rid of the mystery of all those type of things, like the Bermuda Triangle, all of this, like getting rid of some of the mysteries that we look into it?
I don't know if it really answers so many of the mysteries as it gives you some ideas, at least, and possibilities as to what may have happened to some of these things, like the missing airplanes. Did they pass through some sort of portal and end up in another point in time, perhaps?
Right.
People speculate that they end up in another dimension, another point in time. And what I like to point out is, well, if it did go, let's say it went back 500 years in time, is what happened. It would make some sense to me because, okay, 500 years ago, let's say the indigenous people in the area look up in the sky and they see this massive plane overhead and they're hearing the rumble and, how loud it is and all of that. What would they relate that to? Well, they have no context of an airplane. They know birds. So, okay, it's a very large bird that's very loud and thunderous in nature. So is this where we get some of our Thunderbird legends?
Yeah. Well, it's also making me think, and I know you've been to Egypt lately, or you're going to Egypt.
Yeah.
Both scenarios.
Both, yeah. Have been and going back in February, yes.
Well, I can't wait to read about that book. I'll tell you what. But it also makes you wonder about, you have so many people speculating how the pyramids were built. We can't do what they did, and in the time that they did it. Right. So it almost makes you think, did Amelia Earhart, flip into another, or did somebody else flip into another time that gave them that technology or some sort of technology,
Yeah, they definitely had a know-how that we don't today. Some of these buildings and constructions, we don't even have cranes today that could lift some of these blocks and some of these different buildings. So how did they possibly do these things? It's still a mystery to our modern era, but it's definitely some sort of technology that was lost. Whether they got that from advanced civilization, from ETs, from a time traveler, we don't know.
Right.
But they definitely had a technology that over the course of time became lost.
Oh, I love that, because that starts to get into realms where I get curious. I get curious into realms of lost Atlantis and things of that. Yeah. I'm like, that's where if you could write a book on that, I'd be so happy.
that is coming. So in my next book, which is called Connecting the Universe, I do travel down some of those paths. Yes.
Yeah. Because I think there's more than just conspiracy theories for them. I think there's some sort of logic and understanding, and myself, to me, it's almost like I know it was there. I don't even know how, you know what I mean? But then my world's all about mystical, magical Harry Potter powers, that type of a situation. So, what are you is there also a book on Egypt itself coming to light? And some of the
there will be just a standalone book on Egypt. Right now, my experiences are being included in this Connecting the Universe book that touches on a lot of different topics. But eventually, there'll be a standalone book on Egypt.
I love that. I just know that because you've also spoke about ancient aliens, correct? And things.
Yeah. I've been on the television show. I have a few more episodes of which I'll be on. So there's definitely a connection there between some sort of, extraterrestrial life, even ultra-terrestrial life, and, what's going on in the world today.
So how do you become an expert on that?
I don't know if expert's really the right term.
We didn't live in the 1950s and see it come down.
Right. Yeah, it kind of almost goes back to my mystery writing. You're like a detective trying to put all the pieces and clues together. So yeah.
Well, I think it's great because I can see you, and granted, this is years past, when you've passed and people looking back going, that Mike character, he was really kind of like one of the founding fathers to discover all this stuff, and put it in paper.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I'm trying to do that I believe we should all be doing is, passing on to the next generation. I'm not going to be here forever. There's no possible way to learn it all, but I can at least learn enough, collect it all, and then pass it on to others. And, hopefully they pick up the mantle and keep going with it. But yeah, I think that's a big part of what we're supposed to be doing here is, passing on our knowledge to the next generation, so that, because humanity has this constant recurring cycle that, we tend to destroy ourselves. So let's try to not do that and learn from our previous mistakes.
We've been doing that a few times. I mean, are we in like a 100-year cycle of pandemics? And we like to blow ourselves up every few thousands of years. It seems to come with faster than we probably should advancements, it seems to. So the fact that we've blown ourselves up in the last 70 years, I think we're doing pretty good.
We're doing okay.
We might have
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, not our generation anyway, but with all seriousness though, I do want to talk more about ancient aliens and exactly what that means.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about the idea that there are extraterrestrial civilizations that have in the past visited our planet, and we've seen a lot of these different ancient cultures, these representations of what they called their gods, throughout their artwork, their legends, their what we call a mythology. But we see in a lot of that quote unquote mythology, things that have actually truly played out on Earth. We talk about things like the Great Flood, and we see in almost every culture on this planet that they have a flood story. And a lot of the details are the same between those different stories. They might have different characters and things like that, but it always seems to be that there was a massive flood that destroyed the earth, that if there were a few survivors, and then afterward there were visitors that helped them to rebuild the civilization. So it's absolutely fascinating when you see those parallels between cultures. And then the question becomes, who are the visitors?
Yeah, that's pretty incredible if you think about it. I've never gone to that point. Although I know I look at it, because to me mythology is really kind of going into Greek gods and things of that nature. You know what I mean? But I'm sure there's quite a few other ones. I'm not the most scholastic person, let's put it. I was never a researcher growing up. It just was never going to be my thing. But I did have these fascinations. These fascinations with Zeus and all of those type of things, and kind of and not necessarily in what pulp culture looks at them as, but more the tangible type of a thing. So it would be really interesting, especially if that data would come across as something that's very true. So that people can hold on to something more than what's depicted with lightning bolts.
Right. Yeah. There are nuggets of truth within there. And, each culture kind of puts their spin on exactly, what happened or who those people were. But you see very similar characters between these different cultures that they were calling either their gods or some sort of visitor or something like that. But their function was essentially the same.
I love that. I honestly, that just blows me away that somebody is taking all those myths and making them very tangible. Because I do fully believe that, as you do, or I'm sure you do anyway, that in order to save ourselves from the future, we have to understand our path.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because if we don't understand the past, we're going to be right back to where we were, again. So, and not just, back to Hitler on, it's going back a lot further than that.
For sure.
Yeah. So you also have a show, it's called The Unexplained Network, on The Unexplained Network.
Yeah. Sorry.
You were all over the place.
I am.
You got so much.
Unexplained Network. Yep.
Most people I talk to, it's like one or two things that I can explore so in depth. You are all encompassing, Mike. You have just, and I think, and it's funny because as you're talking, and I do want to talk about that, but as you're talking, I love how it's like you had a dream of this or you had this, you know what I mean? Something has kind of clicked you into something else. Does
Right.
that, you know what I mean? It's you're a very learned gentleman and very scholarly, but it seems to be spirit that keeps popping you from one subject to another to
This is
another of your
true. This
life.
is true.
You know?
Yeah. No, I had to think about it for a second because I always refer to it as the UNX network. That's the way they brand
Oh,
everything.
there,
So I was like, wait a second. Oh, yeah, right. Grace Hobbs heads that up.
that other thing
Um,
you do, that other thing you do that, you know, you just kind of pop up and show some
yeah.
pictures of being you know, interviewed again.
Yeah. So the show I have on there is Connecting the Universe, which I know, same title as the book that's coming out. And basically what that is a syndicated version of my weekly class on the Connected Universe portal. So on the Connected Universe portal, we do, a whole 1 hour class on Wednesday nights, 8:00 p.m. Includes slide presentation, videos, all of that while I'm, going through the material. And basically I port that out to a podcast that runs on a variety of different platforms, and the UNX network is one of those.
Oh, that's beautiful. How do people get to that? I mean, how do the people get to
Yeah,
that? Like just being part of that class.
Yeah, being part of the class, connecteduniverseportal.com. I have a 30-day free trial on the monthly membership side. And there's also an annual subscription for that, which I will say that we periodically do run specials for on that. So we just had one for Black Friday, and we'll probably do another one at New Year's. But yeah, if you want to check it out now, we have a 30-day free trial out there.
I love that because it gives people, I mean, my show is all about, for all the, and I know I've watched you get a lot of questions at a Paracon once. It's like, how'd you do this? We
Right.
always get those, and I know I'm doing the same thing to you right now because I'm trying to think of all the questions people would ask, all
Right.
over the place. And I know that's one thing people are like, how do I learn about this stuff?
Mhm.
How do I learn about ancient aliens when everybody thinks it's like a government conspiracy? It's about this, it's about that. It's like, how do they go to find those details? How do you uncover this stuff, and make it more pliable to people?
Yeah, it's a lot of research. It's finding those connections, which is why I've called it, the connected universe.
Right.
And it's almost like pattern matching from when we were little kids, right? Find the different patterns.
Yes.
And, it's a more advanced concept of that, to try to find the connections and the patterns between all of these different historic stories and tie that into what's going on now.
Right. I can just, if you use Post-it notes, I could just see your wall right now with all these different colors of Post-it notes. And
I do the one wall in the dining room for my season 2 of my Shadow Dimension docu-series. There's all kinds of Post-it notes on the wall. It's like, this is episode 1, here's episode 2. Yeah.
I can just see it, like you trying to keep it all straight, and then research is just a whole nother room in itself. It looks like a murder's gone on or something,
Pretty much.
So, I love that. So what are your interests going further into this? What else are you looking at?
You mean besides everything?
You know what? I love that. I honestly love this. And it was like I was talking to my producer ahead of time. He's like, what are you going to ask him about? I'm like, I don't know. Mike does so much. We could spend an hour easy on every topic.
Yeah.
But you do so much, so it is. What is left for Mike Ricksecker to go explore?
Yeah, I mean, there's really a lot, because I've really just scratched the surface with my research so far. So, yeah, going back to Egypt, we're looking at the tour is called Stargates of Ancient Egypt. So, we're taking a closer examination at the buildings and the facilities, that were labeled as Stargates. And you see it right there in the hieroglyphs, where it's actually labeled as Stargate. So we're doing a deeper dive into that this time. We'll go back and we'll look at Atlantis, because that's another area that fascinates me, where you see the Atlantis story, all throughout our earthly culture, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's a world phenomenon, not just, one part of the world.
Right.
But then you also see these connections back out into the universe. That's really fascinated me, that, the idea that before our current solar system, that we actually were spawned out of another one, that this is not our first go around with this planet. It was formed up a different way. We don't know what that solar system would have looked like.
Right.
Ideas that perhaps we are the extraterrestrials, that we have come from some other planet or some other system somewhere. So those are other things that I'm looking into as well.
I truly believe that, because I think if we've blown ourselves up here enough times, we've probably done it on other
Yeah.
planets, and we keep looking for another one that, okay, we need to get something similar, because they're going to do it again. One that's, we're just looking at as Earth accessible to blow up right now, and it isn't,
Right.
So, I love that. I love that there's always more for you. You're kind of like this explorer, a modern day explorer, that really is just out there and doing everything, which is amazing. It's amazing to me. And then you still have time to show up at Paracons and all these other ones. I mean, it's like, I don't know how you do it all. My life is crazy, but yours is like, you're flying all over the place.
I tell people I don't sleep much.
It's gotta be great. I mean, I sleep beautifully on a plane. Give me a little pillow, I'm good for 2 hours.
There you go.
I love it. So people can go on these tours with you, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. We have the registration open for the Egypt tour through the beginning of January. It's getting really down to the wire though, because at this point you need to be booking your airline tickets and all of that. But there's still an opportunity to sign up for that.
Right.
And that tour runs February 7th through the 19th. And then we have a Sail with Spirit Alaska cruise the beginning of September 1st through the 8th.
I love that. Now, I'll tell you what, Christmas present for anybody that wants it. Egypt's great. I mean, it's going to be warmer there than it is.
Yes.
I'm in Wisconsin, so anything is warmer than Wisconsin right now. But you know what? It's a great time if people are thinking about that. So the Sail with Spirit one, what's that going to be about?
That one actually has a lot more people on that than just me. I think there's like at least a dozen different speakers for that one. A lot of different psychic mediums, energy healers, this sort of thing. So it's a giant seminar at sea for the whole week.
Sounds like
we have some ports of call. Yeah.
It sounds like it's my alley. We're all going to talk to dead
Yes,
people.
definitely.
We're going to talk to dead people. Life is good. And we're going to throw it in there because he's going to prove it.
Right.
I love it. So I don't want to keep you much longer, but if you were to tell somebody, anything about just kind of exploring or navigating, if somebody looks at you, how am I going to form this question? Because I know I've asked you a lot of questions about how, you got this and how you did that, because you've done so many different things. How would you explain to somebody to just kind of go at their life? How to do any of it? Or, what would be your advice?
I mean, if you have a dream, if you have an idea, you have a goal, don't give up on it. Keep pushing forward. It's the old Rocky saying, it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Because it's a challenge. Trying to get a book published. When I got that first mystery novel published, this is something that had been a dream of mine since I was little, that I'd been wanting to do my entire life, and to get those rejection letters again and again and again and again was really tough, because I knew I was a good writer. Anybody who had read my stuff was like, this is great. You definitely need to get it published, throughout my whole life. So to get those rejection letters was like, what in the world's going on? Am I not as good as I thought I was?
Right.
But I just kept going and going and going and going. And with any of it, like, with the YouTube channel, yes, there are hundreds of videos that are out there, but if you look at the early ones, even to this day, some of them only have like 40 views on them. Nobody was watching that stuff. So why did I keep going? Well, it's because I just believed that I needed to keep going. I needed to keep putting the effort in this, that somewhere along the way, that somebody would watch it, that would help them in some capacity, that would be informative for somebody somehow. And sure enough, along that way, somebody noticed and said, hey, we would like for you to give this information to a bigger audience.
I think that's beautiful, because I think that's about the best advice I've ever heard for somebody. Just it's beautiful advice. It wasn't just that you happened into things, which I think sometimes look at, we see big. I'm going to put you in that bigger than life category, because people will watch you and just go, oh my gosh, how do I be like him? Well, you are like everybody else. You just have to keep trying.
Just keep going. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just, whatever it is. And I think that's beautiful. So thank you, Mike, so much for coming on. Sorry to put you all over the place, but
No, it's totally fine. I
your
appreciate it, DeEtte.
your life is just, it really is a fairy tale life with everything, so been such a joy to be able to have you on and talk with you. And I know everybody that's listening to this now and in the podcast form is going to get so much out of it. So thank you again for
Thank
coming
you,
on
DeEtte.
board. Enjoy. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yes. And Happy New Year. Enjoy 2023. I hope you have many successes next year.
Oh, you also. I can't wait to follow you. So some more. So, and I think I'll see you in Michigan this year. So
Yes, absolutely.
yes, beautiful. Have a great dear.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Everybody else, I'll be back in a few minutes here with Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB.com. Hey everybody, welcome back here. This is DeEtte here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB.com. I do want to apologize to you guys also because I literally was like all over the place. Mike has done so much, so many incredible things. And I don't even want to say reinventing because I don't think that's it. I think it's just explored more and more and more of what he is able to do and wants to do and is called to do. And I was just trying to give everybody listening all those questions, because I know everybody's got their different part of what he does that they're interested in. So again, he's just, you can get so much more of Mike on Gaia TV. I think it's Discovery or Travel Channel, all over the place. The Unexplained Network, Haunted Road Media. That is one place. I had that up on the thing for a minute there for you guys to be able to see. And that's where you can, and I'll put that back up there. That is Haunted Road Media is actually his publishing company where you can find all the books for Mike, just so you can go and get that information. And I really do hope, and I know I always encourage people to go explore and look at the guests, but Mike is one I really would, especially with all that he's done and all that he has brought to life for people. I do encourage people to go and explore Mike, learn more about him, what he does, because he's doing some very, very valuable research, guys. I mean, very, very valuable. Yeah, a lot of people will look at these as conspiracy theories or taboo or whatever it is that people look at these things. Mike is making these things reality. Mike is really, I truly believe when I said it to him, and I'll say it again, that someday, and it may not be for 100 years from now, but people are going to look back on the research that he's done and look at it and go, wow, he really was kind of a forefather of this. He was a founder of a lot of this stuff because he has taken that time that people like me don't take to connect the dots, to see where all this comes together. Now you do have people that go on theology, and more of a biblical or looking at different things of that nature. But this gentleman really, he's taken it all. He's taken it all in, and he's making sense of it. He's bringing in all those points of interest, and he's connecting dots, and he's put it in paper form for us to be able to read and explore and learn, and then realize that these aren't just creations of somebody's figment of their imagination. These are he's not doing that. He's really making these things come to life, and the exploration of his life. And please do me a favor if you like, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to bring I'm gonna bring him up here. I'm gonna actually bring him up someplace else so that I can get this up for you guys to see. You can Google just the name Mike Ricksecker, his biography, um, you know, just does so much. I'm just going to look at his biography here for you guys to see. He does a lot. You can see everything he does. You can go from there, and that's going to just. It is so. Oh my God, guys, it is so funny. I just literally Googled him, clicked on his IMDb, and at the very bottom, they have all those advertisements at the very bottom. His advertisement for right now, anyway, is a Harry Potter fossil. Harry Potter fossil. And that's funny. I think that's awesome because he's making magic of everything that is there. He really is. He's making everything he's making it. So please do me a favor, start to follow Mike, see what he's got to offer. I think, what, just finding his interest in what he does and all he does is really going to help you to grow your own interest and give you a know-how of where to go next, and what you can do. So again, everybody, I do apologize for, what, not only was I all over the place with Mike, I was all over the place with this show. What an interesting going into, oh, let me look, Tim. I want to make sure I give you the right date. I'm going to be putting that out later this week. I don't want to give you a definite thing. It is, January 5th. It'll be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 to 8:30 Eastern Time, guys. And Tim, I think you're an hour behind me, but I know you're really good with time zones. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to wish everybody a very, very Merry Christmas. I hope it is magical and mystical and all it should be from a kid's point of view and not us adults' point of view, because that's what makes Christmas amazing. It's not just the tinsels and the sparkles, but it's the excitement of the little ones. And with that being said, I'll see you next week with Mr. Mike Hatchard, and hopefully my brain's a little less scattered. So you guys have a great day. This has been DeEtte Renee here with Schooled Thru Spirit on WLTK-DB.com.